Burning down the highway skyline, it's much ado about nothing. I'm Adam.
And I'm J-Rock.
Well, hopefully we know what we're talking about today off of that.
That's what everybody's talking about.
Yeah, so for those of you living under a rock earlier this week...
Or who weren't part of that scene.
Yeah, I guess.
Although,
Who wasn't, though? Anyway, earlier this week there was that When We Were Young... Festival. This deal here. That got announced. What?
The poster, like, man.
But isn't that exactly what it looked like back then?
Yeah, I mean for sure.
That was everybody's notebook, everybody's backpack 20 years ago. You know, maybe you didn't listen to every single one of those bands. Like, I mean, I'll be honest, half of these bands I didn't listen to, but I knew of them. But that's a pretty indicative. What's the word I'm looking for?
Aesthetic.
I mean, it's a pretty good representation of what a teenager back then, one of those emo kids. And I say emo kids. I don't know. I wasn't really like okay, I'm like you, looking at this. Mm-hmm. I was never that emo kid. I wasn't like the cry myself to sleep.
Well, and I feel like there was this weird line between, like, emo and goth. That was a very thin line.
Yeah. Kind of. I don't know. I just know I liked some of the music when I was in high school, but I never really got into the... I'm not going to call it a culture. It wasn't really a culture or lifestyle.
It was kind of a culture. Like, let's be real. It was kind of a culture.
Wearing black everywhere. And see, I don't know. I also... Maybe I'm just a fraud about everything, because I was also, like, tried to be into skateboarding and stuff. And my musical taste just kind of steered that way.
Yeah. You're more, like... grunge? Is that like...
No. Grunge was way before my time.
Oh.
No, I got the hair for grunge now, but at the time, my hair was short and it was... No, I was like a preppy punk. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
A poser?
Yeah, I was kind of a poser. I'm not gonna, I wore skate shoes, but I couldn't skate. I had my... like a Simple Plan t-shirt or an Atari's t-shirt. Oh, that's a band I should put on the list.
See, and I looked like a poser half the time, but that was only because of
you weren't allowed
parents.
to.
Yeah, I had... Well, okay.
That was the whole point, though. You stick it to the man.
I know, but to be fair, my circumstances were a little wonky because it was my dad had passed away, so I think there was part of my mom that was terrified that I would get into that stuff and then do something to myself, and she would have it lose. I don't know. Like, it wasn't what I would classify as like your normal.
Your mom was making connections that technically weren't there. But...
Yeah. I've never, suicidal ideation is something I have never struggled with. That's not something I've struggled with.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay.
It's just it's like entertaining the thoughts of that.
It sounds like one of these bands. Like right there, suicidal ideation.
No, it's like I got into like Evanescence.
Yeah, Evanescence doesn't belong on this list.
Yes, it does.
Well, you know what? We'll talk about that a little bit, like, because I mean, looking at this list, like I said, this is like a, I mean, at least where and when I grew up, this would have been like the concert to go to.
Yeah.
This would have been everything. What?
I was looking because I thought of another band that should have been on there, but I want to make sure they're not before I say it.
Who was it?
Incubus?
Yeah, they're not on there.
Okay.
I also wouldn't consider, like, Incubus was kind of around during that time, but I wouldn't consider them part of.
See, but everybody that I hung out with that like listened to this music and stuff, Incubus and Story of the Year kind of, for whatever reason, kind of went together. Like, if they listened to one, they probably listened to the other.
Oh, that was just my experience. We never made that connection. It wasn't like Fall Out Boy and Panic at the Disco, which, you know what, before we keep getting into that, let's stick to the agenda here. Let's conform to the, to the list we set up. because we can spend plenty of time on that. Just so anyway, first thoughts about that when you first heard about this.
Oh, I was like, buy tickets now. Let's do it. Let's go. Yes. Like,
Yeah.
Right out of the gate. Yeah, that was the definite. Yeah.
Yeah. I was, well, I was going to say I was kind of the same way. I looked at it as I would have wanted to when I was a kid. But then I thought back in 2004, right after I graduated high school, like that summer, Warped Tour was in somewhere in Kansas. I can't remember where. It wasn't that far away. And I thought, I remember one of my friends wanted to go, and I told her I'm not going to be able to go because I have to work. Well, almost 20 years later, nothing's changed. My first thought was, yeah, that sounds great, but I'm not going to be able to go because I can't get off of work.
Oh.
And not that I couldn't get off of work. I don't.
See, and I was so excited, like that ran through for a split second of like, he has to work, kids, da da da. And then my excited brain was like, screw it all. Like, you'll find a way. Just find a way. It'll be fine. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know?
And maybe it's because like when I was growing up, I always had to be the responsible one. Like when me and my brother would go out to do stuff. He was the one, hey, let's go TP somebody's house. And I was the one like, hold on, let's make, I don't think this is a good idea. All this other stuff. This. Yeah. So I had to be I was the responsible one. So, and I never really, I wouldn't say grew out of it, but that's just kind of how it's been. I never grew out of it. Like how I was as a, during this times. Yeah. I think my only real connection to it was the music. That's why I was saying, like, I was never really like emo or goth or a skater or whatever. I just, I kind of liked the aesthetic of some of it, and I liked the music, but it was never like my lifestyle. So,
yeah.
But no, yeah, I saw it and I'm like, oh, that's not. First thought was, yeah, that sounds great, but then I thought, the more I looked at the details, I'm like, it's one day. Well, they've switched it now. Let's go back to it. This one I looked up today, and it said, second day added.
Yeah.
But it's, I think on their, let me see if I can pull that up. I think on their thing it says, let's see. Wait, how do I do that?
There was just so much logistics-wise with this thing that was...
Yeah.
Made me super uncomfortable.
Due to the overwhelming demand, we've decided to add a second day. Same lineup each day. That doesn't make any sense.
No.
What you should, well, hold on. Let me back up. I get it. Because what happens if you can only go one of the days and it's split? Because the unfortunate reality is the people who like, oh yeah, these are the bands when I was I say kid, teenager, whatever. They're our age. You're probably on the young end. Getting 2 days off plus travel time and all that stuff's not gonna, it may not be feasible for some people. I mean, or you might be someone like me where it's like, I'll go, but I don't want to go for I don't want to go for 2 days to see all the bands I want to see.
Yeah, it's weird though, because even then, even adding a second day, if they're all the same bands, you still have the issue of time.
Yeah, that too.
Like how are they gonna play good sets?
I think they were talking about doing like 12 hours a day, but there's
like people can't sustain that.
Like what I would worry that it would turn into is like a Super Bowl halftime show. Where they're playing like snippets of all their songs.
Oh yeah, and I don't.
I don't want to hear Dashboard Confessional going, screaming and then all of a sudden cut to their next song because it's all they have time for.
Yeah.
I know I sounded bad when I sang that. I was a little off key there.
Yeah, no, it just doesn't make sense. The company that's putting it on is already questionable.
Yeah,
for their safety practices, like.
They're that Astro.
Yeah.
Yeah. In any case.
The cost too, like, woof.
Yeah. I should have tried to find that meme. The one about the it up. I'm sure there's... It was the one with the old lady saying back in my day, we called it Warped Tour and it was only $40.
Yep.
And then it's like, okay, Grandma, let's get you to bed. Like,
I call me Grandma because that's...
It's...
Man,
but it's
a lot of money.
Yeah.
And especially if you're somebody like us who would be traveling in and already be spending money on, you know, either airfare or gas, food, hotel, you know, childcare.
I was gonna say all the adult realities that didn't exist when it was just your parents dropping you off.
Yeah, exactly.
Start coming into play.
Exactly. Like if it were local, then maybe, but even then, that's just a lot of money, and especially with it being non-refundable. Like,
I mean, a lot of that stuff's non-refundable anyway.
I know, but it's just, I don't know.
But
something always comes up with kids, I feel like, so non-refundable for me is like, ugh.
Yeah. I think the other thing too, I mean, aside from like the crunch of all the, you know, the amount of time and everything, I think probably the biggest issue is look how old the people are who are going to be going there. I mean, you know, there's going to be some guy who's like 40 years old who, you know,
can't hold
fat.
his liquor.
Well, I'm thinking more they're going to go out there, they're going to try to mosh just like they did before. They're going to try to crowd surf. You know, someone's getting crushed by some fat guy. Like, okay, look. 2004, we went to... Was it Buzz Under the Stars? I think it was... The show was... who played first? Thrice. It's Thrice, Get Up Kids, and Dashboard Confessional. And I crowd surfed at that one. It was fun. But at the time, I think I weighed like 160 pounds.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, I was pretty stringy. I mean, the fatulosity over here is ridiculous.
Well,
but I guarantee there's going to be people that, oh no, I'm still going to go out there and crowd surf. I'm like, dude, you're too fat. Or girl, you are too fat to be up there. You're going to have people breaking their wrists, you know, all that.
Well, and the fact that this is going for supposedly like 12 hours straight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where is everybody going to be just eating and drinking while we're watching?
Yeah, thanks for cutting me off.
How...
No, but yeah, there's a bunch of... It's going to be a bunch of old... I say old people. I'm not old,
No.
but I'm too old for this, I think. But it's going to be a bunch of older people. Sorry, I cannot stand the way we look. Oh, so much better. My forehead, like, look, I know I got... Well, now it's back. I got forehead creases from being older. Like, you know, I don't want to show up there like, hey, you know, let me put makeup on so I look like I I didn't get any older since 2004, you know. But yeah, there's the logistics where people are gonna be older, not as good shape, but I think they're gonna try to be like they were then, and you know, you're gonna get people hurting themselves.
Get people buying Advil and Tylenol off of each other.
I mean, yeah, I probably, you know, instead of people, you know, smuggling weed in, they're gonna be smuggling in. Hey, you want some Tylenol?
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, Aleve. You got that guy, you know, people over there snorting Aleve. Like,
the headache you would have. Like, can you imagine?
Oh, man. But, yeah. No, I think it's all... Here's what I will say about this. I hope it happens, and I hope somebody's recording the people. I don't... Like, the music, I'm prepared for it to kind of be Everybody's older. You know, people's voices don't say the same. I know, like... Let me switch back to the thing just so I can look at the bands. Like Paramore.
She can be spotty.
She kind of sucks live.
She can be good, but it's spotty. It's very spotty.
I mean, it's... You never know. I mean, you get some guy over there, I'll give you my dirty little secret. Like, no one's going to want to listen to that.
Yeah.
I don't know what the guy sounds like now, but, you know, you're going to get the ones who didn't take care of themselves. You know, look at you ever see Guns N' Roses? Oh, man. Watch a current Guns N' Roses concert. Like that's what I'm imagining this turning out to be. Like
these are gonna turn into tribute bands by the actual band.
Pretty much. But I mean, yeah, I really hope somebody records the people who go, just because. I'm sorry, no, this. None of us are young enough for that now.
Yeah, it's
it's one of those interesting things where it's like now that everybody's older, they've got the money to go to this stuff. They have they don't, like for you, it's not your parents saying, "Oh no, I don't want you involved in any of this kind of stuff." But now you got to deal with old age. I keep saying old age. You know what I mean? You got to deal with being older. You got to deal with adult responsibilities. How many people are going to do this at the expense of paying, their mortgage?
Yeah.
I mean, you figure if it's two people, $250 for the tickets to go. And I don't know if that's the same for both days, but so that's $500 for the tickets plus, if you're traveling, flying out there, plus somewhere to stay. I mean, that's a house payment right there.
Yeah.
For 2 days. Maybe I don't think the people who are doing well enough to afford that are going to be the ones who would be like, oh yeah,
it would have been.
I've been hardcore all this time, even though I'm working as an accountant or working as I'm in HR making enough money to afford this. Like, no, those aren't the people that are going to go to this.
Yeah, it would have been smarter to have pick 5 for each day. This is too many bands. Pick 5 bands, 5 different bands for each day. And then...
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that.
Saying?
And then you get a whole...
Just trim it. Yeah, maybe make the first day some of the older ones.
Well, and here's what
the Black Veil Brides, Sleeping with Sirens, those ones, make those the second day.
The only thing I can think is you're not going to drum up as much hype if, and we can do that right now. If you do that, if you debigulate the list, that's a Simpsons term. It requires some sort of rebigulator.
Really making the case for homeschooling.
Yeah, that's great. Learn a lot from Simpsons. Familiarize yourself with stuff anyway. But you're going to lose out on. Okay, let's say they didn't have Taking Back Sunday. That for me is one of the that band has to be on this list. You take it out, and I'm going to be like, well, where's this band? Where's this one?
Right.
And we already kind of came up with some of our own that we thought, So yeah, making it smaller would have made the ones that they kept better. Mm-hmm. But then you're going to get a lot of people who are upset that, well, I liked Story of the Year and they're not on this list. Yeah. I liked.
But I mean, you're going to upset somebody either way, This is upsetting some people because it's so. The difference
is, I know no publicity. There's no such thing as bad publicity. Good publicity is still better than bad publicity. This is getting good publicity because of how many bands are on here. Yeah. What was our first thought? What did we just say our first thought was? Hey, that sounds great. Because those are all, a lot of them are bands that we listen to.
Yeah.
I mean, but, and that's what they're capitalizing on is that, that initial surge of interest.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. As like we mentioned, there are some bands that
I
are conspicuously missing. Yeah. Well, okay. So, what bands are you saying should be on here that aren't?
Okay, so the 2 that I thought of while we were talking were Evanescence and 3 Days Grace, and then All Time Low, Newfound Glory, and Panic at the Disco.
Evanescence?
Yes.
I wouldn't put Evanescence on this list.
Oh, they were she was the queen of emo. You kidding me?
I mean, okay, let's see if we can.
I mean, what does emo stand for? Emotional. You want to talk about emotional?
Let's look at just the list. There we go. Zoom this
yeah,
puppy in.
thank you.
I wouldn't put okay, some of these bands, okay, All American Rejects, yeah, kind of would go along with this. But I see like, okay, Census Fail, Silverstein, Thursday, like these are all your yelling, screaming, you know, cry myself to sleep stuff.
Yeah, but you've got AFI in there, which to me, I feel like AFI and Evanescence are very similar. My Chemical Romance, like, come on. Those are very similar.
No. Have you ever listened to My Chemical Romance?
Yes.
And it sounds like Evanescence?
They're very similar. Welcome to the Black Parade, and it's all about death.
No.
That's okay. You can't go by just that song.
Okay, you tell me any non-Evanescence fans, what other song did she sing?
Just two full albums that were amazing. Fallen and The Open Door.
Okay,
Call Me When You're Sober. Like, come on.
Call me when you're sober.
Oh my gosh, you're so annoying.
Drunk. I wonder if that'll get picked up when we load this video. Like, hold on, you're copywriting. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm making up my own. I'm using one set of words to sing another set of.
Call Me When You're Sober. All That I'm Living For was really good. Hello from Fallen, that would be a good one. Like, come on. Like, that's why I was saying the line seems so thin between emo, punk, and goth. Like, there's a weird line.
I see. Okay, well, what I'm saying is Evanescence doesn't belong on that list.
I wholeheartedly disagree.
I don't think they do.
I wholeheartedly.
But I mean, but that's kind of the whole point is. There's going to be bands that, you know, people think should be on there or shouldn't be on there. Mm-hmm. You know. But yeah, no, I agree on Newfound Glory. That was...
You didn't agree on 3 Days Grace, did you?
I honestly never listened to 3 Days Grace, I don't think.
Really?
Maybe I did, I don't know.
They had the... I hate every...
Oh, that's not... I didn't know that was 3 Days Grace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I think it is. Now you've got me second guessing myself.
You Bob, man. Who sings? And then you're gonna find out. Oh, I meant 3 Doors Down or something like that.
Oh no.
Okay. Well.
Oh no.
Well, Katie. Well, whoops. I called you.
They sang very like you would recognize them if you heard them.
Okay. Well, in any case, you're making a very good. You're showing exactly the kind of people. You know, there's going to be people who get there like, wait, that's who sings this song? Or why didn't they sing? And then it's going to be some completely unrelated song. Because that's, you know, this is 3 Days Grace, not 3 Doors Down.
It is. I was right. Okay. That is that.
Well,
and Animal I've Become is a good one, too.
Animal I've Become.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not even... It's not even the worst. But, there you go. Linkin Park. Where's Linkin Park?
Oh, yes. Linkin Park.
I didn't think of Linkin Park.
That's a good one. Well, I mean, technically...
I know.
They really are a tribute band now.
Okay. For someone who was talking so seriously about suicide earlier, now you're making jokes about it.
No, like, it's... I'm not making any jokes at, like, the fact that he did it. I'm just saying, like, he's not there. It's legit, like, a tribute band now.
That's... No, you can still be the same band. How many bands have moved on from lead singers?
I feel like they don't make it very long when they do that. Like, it's rare. Flyleaf did that, and they're...
Who was on this list that I saw? How do you pronounce that one? Seosin. They don't have the original singer.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I would get into them. I'll be honest, there's a bunch of these I either haven't heard of, or it was like I heard them being talked about, but never got into them.
Yeah. No, my list of bands that I thought should have been on there.
Oh yeah, you had a good one.
The Killers, first of all.
Yeah.
And now I kind of get it because Killers are kind of late compared to this. I mean, kind of late compared to this list. I mean, All American Rejects is on here. I didn't hear them until 2003.
Yeah.
Paramore.
I heard the Killers in 2008. So.
Paramore was in My Chemical Romance. I first knew of them in 2004. Paramore. I didn't hear about Paramore until Riot, so that was 2008.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, still, it's in Las Vegas. How are you not gonna have the Killers on there? Yellow Card, I think should have
Yeah.
been on. Like I don't know. I lumped them in with like All American Rejects, that kind of
Yeah.
where it's
No,
like
me
it's
too.
the happier sounding stuff.
Yeah.
Fallout Boy
Yeah.
for all their I know you mentioned Panic at the Disco. I just don't like Panic at the Disco.
I have trouble.
I
They're
cannot
like NSYNC and
stand.
Backstreet Boys for me, where sometimes, and I know people, I'm going to catch hate for this. Sometimes I confuse them all the time.
Yeah,
Like
that's
people have such clear cut opinions, and I'm like,
yeah.
honestly, I'm over here
'Cause you
having
picked,
trouble telling the difference between the two.
because you picked one. You couldn't. Yeah, you had to pick one, or you had to be like me and like we were talking about earlier today. You can't be cool and like that music. So, but you still had to know the difference between the two.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, Fall Out Boy I think should have been on there. Thrice, I mentioned going to that Thrice concert earlier.
I don't know them.
Yeah, I don't think you really know Thrice, but they would have, considering all the other bands that are on there, they would have fit.
Okay.
And I said Metric Romance, kind of.
I've kind of gotten to know them through you.
Yeah, but it
I
was
would put
all.
them in there.
But my point is, and kind of what we've been saying is, there's a bunch of bands that fit in this that didn't get included. But I mean, what's the whole point of it? It gets people talking about it, just like we're doing right now.
Yeah.
Oh, why didn't you have this? And if you cut it down, well, why didn't you include? There's going to be people who, if you cut it down and took out, who's a band nobody likes on here.
See, okay, the one like Mom Jeans, I checked them out and they're okay, but I was like, I don't remember hearing anything about that band. It's the little yellow.
Yeah,
That's
no,
right next to
I'm just looking for a band that people wouldn't be upset if they were gone.
Probably Sleeping with Sirens.
I never listened to them.
Yeah, they caught a lot of flack too. Everything I heard about them, you either loved them or you hated them.
Mm. There you go, Avril Lavigne. That's a good one.
No, you know, cutting out the Queen.
Now that no.
Yes.
Sorry, I know I'm gonna kind of go on a tangent here. That's what I want to see. That's the kind of stuff I want to see pictures of from this thing. I want to see all the, and I'm not gonna hold back here. I want to see all the fat girls who wanted to be Avril Lavigne showing up
You are
there
going to get this podcast canceled.
in their mid. Well, here's the thing. It's not just because I say fat girl because it was girls that wanted to look like Avril. No, guys didn't want to look like Avril Lavigne. But what I'm saying is everybody's gotten old. Everybody's gotten fat. I want to see the ones who think they still got it when they obviously don't. I want to see the middle-aged. You know what? Let me see if I can find a picture of that. I'm gonna switch off the
You're
browser real
still
quick.
going to get us canceled.
I'm gonna Google emo dad.
You're being kind of harsh.
Like this guy. Like this guy. I want to see that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The fact is, some people are fat, some people are old. It's gonna have, but that's what I want to see. I want to see that, like, because I'm sorry. At some point, and this is, now I'm gonna get into like the life lesson part of this.
Jeez.
At some point,
You have become emo dad.
No, I haven't. I mean, not like this dude. Not like this guy.
No, I meant like you're. Never mind.
What I'm getting at is that eventually you gotta realize that your childhood is your childhood.
Yeah.
Your 20s were your 20s.
Mm-hmm.
You're not in your 20s anymore. You're middle aged or coming up on middle aged with a family, kids, a mortgage, whatever. And it's like yeah, this would have been great when you were younger, and you wish you could have gone, but you couldn't afford it back then, or you didn't have time to, or whatever. And it's like that time's kind of passed. I think for me, the idea of this whole thing sounds better than the actual.
Oh,
like
yeah. Once you break it down and think about it realistically, it's going to be a mess.
It's just, I mean, it's not just a mess like that, but like, I don't know. For me, I'm past wanting to go back and be a kid. like there's I definitely look back on that time fondly. Like I loved my my late teens. That was a fun time in my life. I can't get past in the back of my mind there being the thought of, yeah, you got to go to work tomorrow. Yeah, but bills still have to be paid. Rock. The bank's not gonna care that you blew your mortgage payment on a concert.
Yeah.
And that you can't afford. Like, hey, can you give me a pass because I had to go see, I had, what's a band I haven't named yet.
You know what this may have
I had to
been
go see
better
Hawthorne
as?
Heights. What?
Instead of a festival, doing a tour.
Yeah, a tour would have been good.
That
and just
would have worked
have
really
bands
well.
jump on and off along the way. Like,
Just have them do what they could do,
well,
and then.
But then what is that? That's Warped Tour, and that's already kind of. I think it's coming back, but it's pretty much gone.
Yeah, we'll bring it back.
So, but that's what I mean. It's like that. Then that's what that turns into.
Yeah.
So. But, in any case, that's kind of our thoughts on this whole thing. It's. At the very least, for the last week or so, it's been fun to like reminisce about that stuff and going, I'm sure everybody's done and makes Spotify playlists and like, oh, this is what I would have put on here. Or if you had to pick songs, like which ones would you pick from them? And, speculate that, oh yeah, Jimmy Eat World's going to go there. And the only song they're going to play is The Middle, which is their worst song. Oh, well, there's another band, Blink-182. I know they're kind of a little before that, but
it's also been fun too finding out, like, there's been people I had no idea even liked these bands, and it's like, oh, like you're one of us too, sort of moments, where it kind of catches you off guard and you're like, I never would have thought that.
Apparently we would have been friends when we were in high school, but we weren't until now, so it doesn't count. Sorry, this is gonna fall over. So now I got to go back to not being your friend because
it's just funny.
In any case, well, we're running out of time, just like most of the bands are going to be when they're doing this show.
But for once, you have been doing most of the talking and not me. So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I got a lot of thoughts on that. So. Anyway, I think we'll wrap it up. All right, we could probably do a whole nother episode on this if we wanted to. Maybe we'll come back. You know what? That's what we'll do. We'll come back to this. This will be later in the year. We'll come back to this after it happens.
Oh, there we go.
Do a little recap, do a little review, laugh at some stuff. We'll find some more pictures of emo dad, and the Avril Lavigne bowling ball that fell on people. I'm just.
You're gonna get it.
No, what? It's called calling a spade a spade. Okay. I will take all the shots at people that they have coming for them.
Okay, on that note,
no kindness.
See you next week.
Was this stuff ever about being kind to
let's
care about everybody's feelings? Like, no, I can't stand this stuff.
We'll see you next week. Goodbye. Say bye.
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 That's not really how I say bye.
Whatever.